Hi, everybody. It's Cynthia Trevino. First Google Hangout ever. Fingers crossed. Welcome to my new 3-step Clarity to Cash webinar based on my 3-step Clarity to Cash system. I'm so excited you're here. So I'm going to take a deep breath and imagine that you're sitting there, and I have 3 questions for you. First, raise your hand if you want more customers. Good, good, good. Raise your hand if you want more customers who love your products and services, get stellar results, and pay you what you're worth. Hands waving, hands waving. Yay. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. I'm pulling up my screen here to see if, I hope you can see my slides. There's a nice slide there of a smiling woman. So I'm really glad you're here, and I know you could be doing a ton of other things tonight. You could be working out, you could be hanging out with your friends, relaxing, you could be having a glass of wine, my personal favorite, but you're here. And you're here because you're an entrepreneur who wants to make the world a better place. You want to serve more of your perfect customers, and you want to increase your income and grow your business. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. I love being in the company of amazing entrepreneurs like you who want to change the world one amazing customer at a time. Now, let's talk about why it's important for you to do this and why it's important for you to learn to attract your perfect customers now. There's 3 reasons. First, you started your business because you saw a gap in the marketplace. People weren't taking care of customers the same way you would. Or maybe you had a better solution for your industry. You had an idea nobody else had, and you jumped in and became an entrepreneur. And last and most important, you want to grow your business, you want to increase your income, and you want to do so with customers that you love, that fulfill you, customers that get great results from working with you. Let's talk about why it's important now. First, it's important because you want to increase your income. And it's crucial that you want to identify who your perfect customers are so you can increase your income. Second, there's a study here. I found this study. It was posted in Inc. magazine in August of last year. And Intuit, the company that makes QuickBooks, did a study of what they call the contingent workforce. These are entrepreneurs, freelancers, contractors, consultants. And they discovered, and they're projecting that by 2020, there's going to be 43% of the complete total workforce of the United States is going to be freelancers and consultants and entrepreneurs. I mean, 2020 is practically tomorrow, and 43% is a really high number. That's millions of new freelancers and entrepreneurs who need your gifts, your skills, and your talents to help them be successful. And the last reason it's important for you to learn about clarifying your customer and growing your business is because our country, our economy, indeed, the entire global community needs all of the smart, ethical entrepreneurs it can get to solve our big problems. And that's all of you. I'm just imagining that you're all shaking your heads and saying yes, and you agree with me. That's great. If it's okay with you, I'm going to take a minute and talk about who am I and why should you be listening to me. I'm Cynthia Trevino, and who am I? So I have a lot to be grateful for today. I have an amazing life. I'm married to my best friend and soulmate. I get to work with amazing entrepreneurs every day. They're doing great work. They're doing things like advancing water rights, developing interactive training apps for special needs kids. They're coaching technology startups, and they're training the leaders of tomorrow. I'm inspired every day by the amazing entrepreneurs I get to work with. I have the best job on the planet. But it wasn't always this way. Years ago, I became an instant entrepreneur after a downsizing. I was laid off along with half of my company. And for a couple of years, as I began to be a consultant, I really struggled. I didn't know how to explain my services. I didn't know how to explain who I was. I attracted the wrong clients. I had nightmare clients. I remember one. Now tell me if you can think about a nightmare client you've had. One person I worked with, we would work on a project, we would delve into it, get everything done, work on it for weeks, and she would be happy. And then the next day she would write back and say, no, let's change this. It was just, has anyone ever worked with anyone like that? Someone who just couldn't make a decision, couldn't settle on anything. I was really miserable. Nothing I tried worked. I did what all the experts said. I went to networking events. I created a website. This was a long time ago, before everyone had websites. I followed all of the expert advice. I created a brochure, because that's what you did in those days. And then nothing worked. I was miserable. And I began to be in networking nightmare, networking hell, because I went to networking events all the time. And it got so bad that one particular night, I was driving to an event with my husband, my partner, and I was feeling physically ill. It was terrible. As we drove up into the parking lot, I was frozen. I couldn't move. I was so terrified because I felt like a fraud. I felt like a failure. It was a horrible night. Shortly after that, I decided I'm going to get a job at Barnes & Noble. I'm going to give up on this entrepreneur thing and just go to work for Barnes & Noble. It was a miserable time. And then I finally had an aha moment. I realized it was never about positioning me or my services. It was always about my customers. What were their urgent problems? What was their big dream? How could I help them get where they were going? In the first 4 months after I changed my focus completely and began to focus on my customers and not my services, everything changed. I very quickly signed 3 high-end clients. They were wonderful. And within the first year of changing my focus, my business doubled. Why? Because once I focused on my customers and not my services, I began attracting perfect fit clients. And the reason my income went up so dramatically is because projects with right fit clients, with my perfect clients, lasted for years, as opposed to those with wrong fit clients that lasted a much shorter period of time. I learned tons and tons of customer and business and marketing lessons the hard way. And I really want to save you from doing all of that. I want to save you from that pain. And since then, I've absolutely mastered the way to choose marketing strategies that work for you and for your business and your set of customers. I've learned how to guide entrepreneurs like you to build a strong foundation so that all of your marketing and business development efforts are focused on the right customers and you're repelling the wrong fit customers. That's very important. We'll talk more about that. So my intention for you tonight is to help you build a powerful foundation for how you can define your perfect customer, your perfect message, and then where to find your perfect fit customers. Today, marketing is just a challenge. I have to agree with you if you feel that way. You're faced with an absolute ocean of options that is overwhelming when it comes to marketing and finding new customers. There's Facebook, there's LinkedIn, webinars, live networking events, email marketing, Pinterest, Twitter. The list is endless, I know. But all of those social media platforms, all of those tools are that. They're tools and platforms. The mistake I see too many entrepreneurs make is to jump into a platform or social media or adopt a tool before they have a firm foundation of who they want to be talking to. And then they say, oh my gosh, I'm staring at a blank social media screen and I don't know where to start. I want to save you from that pain. My recommendation is before you choose a platform or a tool, like you're going to, even before you choose events, first step back and get complete clarity on who it is you want to be talking to, your perfect customer, and what you want to say to them. So that's my goal for you tonight, is to help you get clarity so that you know who you want to be talking to and what you want to be saying before you choose a social media platform or a marketing tool. That's why I designed my 3-step marketing program. It's 3 steps to customer clarity, and it's based on these 3 foundational building blocks here, my 3 blue blocks. There's market, message, and media. I know it sounds really simple, but we'll go over them one by one. Now, at the end of this session, I'm going to give you an offer and invite you to explore with me more deeply and see if we're a fit to work together. Because my system, the 3-step customer clarity to cash system, is really designed to take you from the frustration of attracting the wrong customers, working with people that aren't your people, to the pleasure and profit of working with customers and clients who fulfill you. You know how fulfilling, you know how much fun it is when you're working with someone that's a member of your tribe, someone who shares your worldview. Those wonderful action-taking customers who are motivated and they can't wait to learn what you're teaching them and follow your recommendations because you're the expert. They're the people that get astronomical results, and most importantly, they pay you what you're worth. So that's why at the end of this call, I'll give you an opportunity to sit down and talk with me in detail about this and how it applies to your business. So these are the 3 foundational building blocks: market, message, and media. And my system is a 3-step clarity to cash system. Only 3 steps. Don't you love something that's only in 3s? 1, we're going to clarify your market. The second step is to develop your message. Your message is how you speak to your perfect customer so that she or he recognizes that you're the person that can help them solve their problems or meet their big goals. And third, and only third, do you choose your media platform. You choose where to find your perfect customers. That's the last thing you do. First, let's talk about your market. This is your perfect customer. Who is she? The secret to success is knowing your perfect customer better than anyone else in your industry. You want to know your perfect customer as a complete and total person. If you say, my customer is professional women who have children, or my target market is men between the ages of 40 and 60, that's a giant pool of people. When you're that broad, It's very hard to stand out. Now, if you have a marketing budget the size of Budweiser's or Nike's, you can say men between the ages of 40 and 60. You can be that broad. But you want to drill down and really understand your perfect customer as a complete person. I love Seth Godin. It's one of my favorite sayings of Seth Godin. Everybody is not your customer. He's a well-known marketer and thought leader, and he's published a ton of books. I think one of his first really successful books was The Purple Cow. I just love Seth Godin. Peter Drucker was a management expert, a guru. He was a professor, a consultant. He's widely recognized by a lot of people as the father or the founder of modern management and business as we know it today. He wrote 39 books, and the man was an author machine. And this was in the days of typewriters. Peter Drucker said a lot of things. My favorite saying of Peter Drucker's is, the aim of marketing is to know and understand the customer so well the product or service fits him and sells itself. That's my favorite part. You know and understand your perfect customer so well that when you talk about your product or service, it fits him and almost sells itself. There are 3 pitfalls if you don't take the time, invest your time to understand your customer as a complete person. The first pitfall is you won't know her emotions. You won't know what drives her buying decisions, her behavior. Is she interested in saving for a house? Is she focused on getting her kids through college? Is she focused on getting that next promotion at work? What are her major emotions that drive the kinds of decisions she makes when she's looking for products and services like yours? The second pitfall is you'll use the wrong languaging. If you don't know her as a complete person, you will use terminology that she's not familiar with. You'll use too many expert terms that only you understand because you're an expert in your industry and your customer is not. So you use the wrong language. And the last pitfall is you won't get her attention. Whether you're connecting with your perfect customer online or in the real world, you want to grab her attention. We talked earlier about how everything's so crowded. There's so much media, there's so much social media, there are so many events. It's a very busy, crowded space. And the way to capture her attention is to come from the same place she's coming from by using language and talking about issues that are top of mind for her. Let's go a little deeper on knowing your customer as a complete person. Now, if you have your pad, please write this down. Your number 1 goal is to know your customer as a complete person. I like to say you know your customer as well as you know your family. So here are the top 5 reasons that it's important for you to know your perfect customer as a complete and total person. You want to create a rich image in your mind and document it so that you know everything there is to know about her. Here we go. First, we talked about this. It's easy to use her language. When you know what's important to her, when you've thought about the things that are her priorities, and you get into her mind, it's easy for you to use her language, describe her problems in her words. It becomes easier for you to envision where does she want to go. That's where you want to focus on what is her big goal, what's her big dream, or what's the giant headache problem she absolutely wants to solve. The kinds of problems she wants to solve in the next 30 days, her most urgent problems. This is painting a picture of where she wants to go. We talked about her emotions. What is her why? What gets her up in the morning? Is she doing this for her family? Does she have a mission that she's on? Maybe she's starting a nonprofit. Invest the time to think about, put yourself in your perfect customer's shoes and get into her head and think about her emotions. When I think about getting into her head, there's a favorite quote of mine from a man named Scott Cook. Scott Cook was the original founder of Intuit. And he said, you want to walk in your customer's shoes, get to know your customer and walk in her shoes. But first, you have to take off your own. You have to take off your own shoes. I think he was saying it's important to remember that you are not your customer. Your customer is a separate person. You might have been your customer a few years ago, but now you're beyond that in your particular area of expertise in your industry. So you want to go back and put yourself in your customer's shoes and take away everything in your mind that you know about your area of expertise. You want your customer, when she hears you, when she's talking to you, when she reads your social media posts, when she gets to your website, you want her to think, wow, she gets me, or wow, this business gets me. When you have nailed, when you have drilled down and you're totally immersed in her viewpoint, her worldview, the messages you write, the content you create, and the conversations you have are going to say to her, wow, she gets me. That's your ultimate goal. So be sure and write that one down. Wow, she gets me. And lastly, you'll get complete clarity about the messages. You know, so many people come to me and they say, Cynthia, I'm getting ready to do my social media, or I'm getting ready to write a blog or an article, and I stare at a blank screen. And I believe that once you drill down and build this rich, multi-dimensional picture of your perfect customer, your messages will come to you. You'll know what to say when you're talking or writing or posting to attract your customers, because you're going to know them so well. So those are the top 5 reasons it's important to know your customer as a complete person. Let's go deeper. Now, these are questions to write down also. These are 5 questions that will help you get into the space of your perfect customer. So you want to talk about, what is she like, or what is he like? Things like sports, hobbies, fitness, family time, yoga. Maybe they're into zip lining or kayaking or crafting. Spend some time thinking about the things they love doing. You know your customers. And remember, when you're putting together your perfect customer image and you're creating a document to go deep about her, she's a composite character. She could be one super successful customer you had. She could be a composite of 2 or 3 people that you've worked with that got great results from your products or your services. So you want to think about this person, and what you're doing is you're creating an image in your mind. You give her a name or him a name, and this person becomes real to you. And as you build this rich composite, you refer to her by name. Like maybe you name her Linda or Mary or Janet, or you name him Rick or Tom. So think about their sports. The second question to ask yourself is, who do they love? Who are their role models and their heroes? Who do they follow? Who are their influencers? Do they follow Oprah Winfrey, Angelina Jolie, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Taylor Swift? Who are the people they view as heroes? This is going to help you see your perfect customer as a complete person. And then you've got to go for the third question, who or what do they despise? Now, these are the type of people attitudes, or issues that drive them up the wall. Like, maybe they detest whiners, complainers, people who are time wasters, people who don't recycle. You want to think about who they, after you've talked about who they love, the next question is, who do they despise? What or who drives them up the wall? I'm sure if you think about this, you'll have heard some of your favorite clients ranting and complaining about things. And then the fourth question is, what are their most agonizing frustrations or fears? This is getting into their emotional state. What do they fear the most? Is this losing their job? Or is this not being able to send their kids to summer camp? Or not saving enough money for retirement if they happen to be a baby boomer? These are the agonizing frustrations and fears that are deep. These are the fears that they talk about with their friends. So think about those. One of these might be, you could be working with a client who owns a business and they're very frustrated because they feel like they're a well-kept secret and they're not known enough, or they're a speaker and they're not getting speaking gigs, and they see people with less skills getting gigs that they feel they could serve better. So these are their agonizing frustrations and fears. And the last question in the go deep aspect of this is, what are the emotions that drive their decision making? We had mentioned this earlier, saving for their kids' college, buying a house, or getting a promotion. The second step in the clarity system is your message. Your message is your content. This is what you create when you write. It's languaging. It's what are the words you use to tap into your perfect customers and get their attention. You want to talk about things that are important, whether you're posting, writing, blogging, videoing, having conversations at live events. You want to only discuss topics that are top of mind for your perfect customers. So there's 3 keys to creating the perfect message for your perfect customer. And this is, what are their top core problems? Now, you want to make sure these are their biggest problems in the area of your expertise. What are those things people like to say keep them awake at night? I like to think of it as, if you ask them, what is the biggest problem you'd like to solve in the next 30 days? These would be their top problems. I recommend you narrow this down to 5. Try to find the 5 problems. Try to find the 5 problems that are most top of mind. The ones that if they could solve those problems, they would be on their way and you would be their superhero. These are and when you identify these core problems, these are the topics you talk about. You can think of your message also as topics that you're going to talk about. Then do the top 10 questions that they always ask you. These are basic questions. You could write these in your sleep. You hear these questions all the time. It's very basic questions that customers in your space are trying to solve. Now, the third one is my favorite one. When you're creating your messages for your content, your conversations, think about the questions they should ask. These are gotcha questions. These are questions that customers in your area of expertise, in your industry, they never think to ask. These are the questions, and when you talk about these or you write about them, this is your chance to show your true value, because these are unique to you because of your expertise. You've worked with people, helping them solve problems, or you created products that help your customers solve problems, and you know the kinds of questions that they never think to ask because they're not an expert by you. These are the gotcha questions. These are the questions that your competitors, other people in your space, aren't willing to talk about. So should ask questions. Come up with the 10 questions you should be asking, but they're not asking because they're not an expert like you are. The third step in your 3-step process is your media. Now, this is the last step. These are what social platforms, or it could be the real world, it could be industry associations or events that you want to go to. You want to only choose the social media sites that are your perfect customers use. And when if you're starting out, or if you're restarting, or if you're focusing on a new customer segment, a new perfect customer, don't choose more than 2 at one time. Choose very carefully. Be absolutely crystal clear sure that your customers are using a platform, or they belong to an association, or they attend an industry event. If they don't go there. You want to choose very carefully so that you are always in the place where your perfect customers go. Then when you go to the place, whether it's online in social media or in the real world at an association, you want to build trust. That's the most important thing. You're sharing your knowledge, you're sharing your expertise, you're providing value to every one of your potential perfect customers that you touch. And that's how you build trust. That's how you become known as an authority, because you're sharing your expertise, you're answering questions, you're coming from a sincere place of wanting to serve. That's how you build trust. We all buy from people we know, like, and trust. And this is the best way for you to build trust, is to choose your platforms carefully and then share information. A few years ago, I worked with Anna. She was an amazing entrepreneur with a very socially conscious business. She developed a premium skincare line, and she had a great story behind it. It was women helping women, because she was sourcing the ingredients from women who were using the argan oil in Morocco, in a poor village. And the women in the village were creating the argan oil. And as Anna established, her socially conscious message was that right off the top, not from profits, but from sales, she was donating 10% back to the village, in addition to employing the women. So it was a very socially conscious message. And when I began working with her, she was selling from her e-commerce site in the early days of e-commerce, and she was stuck. She wasn't getting the sales. People weren't staying on her website when they arrived, and she was just in a very flat situation in terms of her sales. So when we talked about it, it was interesting when I sat down with her and her team, because it was a high-end product, and she felt, and she knew that women from teenagers all the way up to age 80 loved her product and enjoyed using it. And so her messaging was very broad. We focused in on the perfect type of woman who would resonate with her message. And we went through the steps. We identified the perfect customer. We identified their top problems. We went over the questions that would be in their mind. And as a result, we developed a plan for her team to use when they were blogging. And things got way better. As a result of being more specific in her blog posts, when people landed on her website, they stayed, and her product sales began to go up. And it was because she took a step back, and took the time, and instead of trying to appeal to women from the ages of 18 to 80, she focused it in a much more narrow slice. It was a very exciting project to work on because of her socially conscious message. Now, we've gone over the 3 steps to the perfect customer system, and we've gone over them quickly in our short time together tonight. And I know that it's hard to grasp a new concept for looking at your perfect customers when we go over it all at once, and when you don't have a chance to ask questions. So because you took the time to be here tonight, and because you came to my first Hangout, my very first Google Hangout webinar, I want to make you an offer. I want to invite you to have a session with me, because the truth is the real transformation comes with going through this information in a one-on-one session with me, where you can ask questions, where you can get feedback, where you can get clarity about the different steps to building your perfect customer profile, the messages that your perfect customer will resonate and relate to, and a plan for where to find them online or in the real world. Now, this is a 1-hour session, and we go through the steps one at a time, and you'll have a chance to really drill down and understand the steps and how they apply to you, your business, your customers, and help you increase your income. So if you're feeling stuck and you feel like you're ending up talking to customers that are the wrong fit for you, my perfect customer clarity system is designed to take you from that frustration to the fulfillment of working with customers who take action, customers who love working with your products and services, and customers who pay you what you're worth. That's the most important part. By working with me, you're going to save a ton of energy and time and frustration. You're going to get clarity about who your perfect customers are and how to reach them. And you're going to get off of the spray and pray hamster wheel. I love this little guy. There's too many entrepreneurs that are attracting the wrong fit customers, that are enrolling customers who are time wasters and tire kickers. And if you're experiencing that with the tire kickers, another really important element is, by clarifying your perfect customer, by knowing who you serve best and who will value your products and services and pay you what you're worth, you're going to, as another wonderful bonus, is you're going to repel the tire kickers. You're going to repel the people who aren't a fit for you. You're going to repel the customers who don't take action, who don't implement, and who don't take your recommendations. That's a very important part. So if you feel as though you're attracting the wrong customers, I want to offer you this session. I normally charge $300 for the perfect customer clarity session. It's a 1-hour session, one-on-one with me. We do it over Skype or over the telephone, and you'll have a chance to really drill down. Now, I normally charge $350 for this 1-hour session, but since you were so kind and you came to my very first Hangout, I'm offering it to you for no charge. And here is my contact information. If you will just email me, we'll set up a time and we'll set up a phone call, and I will walk you through this, and you can escape from the hamster wheel of frustration and the spray and pray marketing that you might be doing. Thank you all so much. I appreciate so much you joining me tonight on my first Hangout. I hope it was valuable, and I look forward to getting your emails. And now it's time for you to go work out, have a glass of wine, or binge watch on House of Cards. No, no. Thank you all so much. This is Cynthia Trevino, and I loved you being here. Thank you, amazing entrepreneurs. Good night.